Bro, stop what you're doing right now. You need to hear this. All right. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 things that you should probably avoid if you ever want to get better at guitar. Before we get started today, though, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow my social links, Instagram and TikTok. Links to those two socials are in my YouTube page bio. Follow those. Instagram and TikTok is also where you'll catch a lot of updates for when I release music, so don't miss that. Okay, the first thing I think you should avoid is mismatching your expectations to your actual actions. Well, what do I mean by that? I mean that if you practice 10 minutes a day, you should not be expecting to be Beethoven in the next year. You should not expect to be a super duper good guitarist in like 1 year or 6 months if you're practicing 10 minutes a day. I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with practicing only 10 minutes a day. If that's all you have, then that's fine. Okay. But you need to have realistic expectations. If that's how long you need to play, you need to have the right mindset. Okay. You don't have a deceived mindset that you're going to get super good if you're practicing 10 minutes a day. If you're going to get super good really fast, it's going to take time. Okay. If you really want to get better at the instrument, acknowledge that this is a dedication, this is a commitment, and it may take longer for you to learn if you can only practice for a couple minutes a day. So this one is really just having the right mentality based on your situation with the instrument at the moment. All right. Number two, not having a routine. Okay. When you're playing guitar, you got to think of it as like when you're working out for your body. A lot of people don't think about it like that. They pick one thing that they really, really, really want to work on or need to work on, and then they just work on that. And I'm not saying there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but I'm saying when you first start out, if you want to get better fast, you need to have variety in the things you practice, which means you need to set up routines, schedules, workouts, and exercises for your instrument, both theory and technique. Okay. So then you can be learning in the most effective way as possible and actually become a well rounded musician. For example, I have a routine for guitar that I make every day when I practice. It's mixed with theory and technique based off of what I'm working on, right? Or what I want to get better at. Okay. If you really want to get better at guitar, you need to have a variety of things in your workflow and what you practice. Bouncing off of this, the next thing that I really, really think that you should avoid doing is practicing things that don't match up necessarily with what you desire on the instrument. A lot of times when people start playing an instrument, it usually stems from an inspiration. Sometimes it could stem from something they heard on the radio or anything like that. Some maybe they heard somebody else play and they go on the guitar with these visions. I want to sound like that. I need to sound like that. Okay. But they don't know how to achieve that. Okay. You really got to sit down and ask yourself and be like, okay, what would make sense most for me to practice to achieve this specific goal? If you heard a super cool guitar solo on the radio and you're inspired to go and learn guitar so you can play that, it's probably not a smart idea for you to go on your guitar and start trying to learn that song right away. If that song had like techniques in it, advanced techniques, or anything that may be out of your league, then you need to sit down and realize that you're going to have to learn some other stuff first that maybe have nothing to do with the goals you see and you imagine to get to where you actually want to go. And this leads me to the next thing you should avoid doing, and that's skipping the basics. I don't care what you're learning guitar to do. Okay, you are gonna have a hard time achieving any goals you have on there if you don't at least learn the basics. What do I mean by basics? Some people hop on the guitar for the first time and they're already trying to learn super advanced guitar solos. You need to learn the basics first. All right. That means learning open chord positions. You need to know what notes are where on the fretboard. You need to get to know your fretboard. You need to do some technique work too. Okay. You need to know those basic techniques to help you add spice to the things you play. Okay. So that's vibrato, bends, okay, slides and stuff like that, pull offs, right? Stuff like that. You need to learn that stuff. You need to learn how to do that stuff. Okay. And that's going to really, really help you. I'm not asking you to go and become a music theory genius. Quite frankly, you might not even need to learn any music theory. You learn some basic chords, learn a couple basic scales, and that's it. The fifth and last thing that we will go over today is not using a metronome. Now, you've probably heard it a lot everywhere, how bad it is if you don't use a metronome, and yet you still never use a metronome. If you can't even stay on beat, there's not too many other aspects of your playing that's gonna matter, because you're not gonna sound good from the get-go if you're not even on beat, if you're not even on rhythm. When you're practicing exercises with like skills or any like technical exercises like legato, you need to go the extra mile and turn on that metronome. It's gonna help you in the long run. You have to be able to stay on beat, especially once you start working with other musicians and doing things. Maybe if you ever want to produce one day or anything like that, you got to know how rhythm works and how to stay on beat. All right, and those are my 5 things that I personally think you need to avoid on guitar if you want to get better. Comment down below if you disagree with any of the 5 things I had. Let me know what your 5 things are in the comments that you have for some others, maybe some tips. Help each other out in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, go follow my socials, and see you in the next video.